Bridgerton gave us a Regency England where sex is everywhere. Viscounts have affairs, dukes have complicated pasts. The rules exist, and everyone bends them. And somewhere in the back of our minds, watching all of this, a question forms. What about Darcy? We know Wickham had a past. We know what he tried to do to Georgiana. We know he ran off with Lydia. But Darcy? Wealthy, powerful, 28 years old? In a world where men of his class operated under a completely different set of rules than women? Did he have a past too? And why does the question make us uncomfortable? Let's establish the historical reality, because Bridgerton is fantasy and Austen is fiction, but the world they're both drawing from was real. In Regency England, sexual double standards weren't just tolerated, they were structural. Men of Darcy's class often enjoyed far greater sexual freedom than women, especially in relationships that remained discreet and crossed class boundaries. Among some aristocratic circles, long-term mistresses were an open secret. In the wider gentry, Darcy's world, discretion remained essential. For women, the calculation was entirely different. A genteel young woman's reputation, and therefore her entire future, depended on absolute sexual propriety. Private correspondence could easily become compromising. This is the world Darcy lived in, not Bridgerton's world, the actual world, which was considerably less glamorous and considerably more hypocritical.
Jane, do you not see that more things have been ruined by this business than Lydia's reputation?
Bridgerton is not a historical document. It's a fantasy, and it says so through its aesthetics, its casting, its deliberately modern emotional vocabulary. But it has changed how many of us read Regency stories. Because when you've watched several seasons of a show where premarital sex is presented as normal, freely chosen, and emotionally uncomplicated, you start carrying those expectations into other texts, including Austen. We now look at Darcy and we apply Bridgerton's logic. Here is a wealthy, attractive man in his late 20s. In Bridgerton's world, men like that have pasts, and we wonder. The problem is that Bridgerton's world is not Austen's world, and applying one to the other produces questions the text was never built to answer. But here's what's interesting. Austen herself put the question in the novel. Wickham has a past, we know this. He pursued Georgiana, 15 years old, with the intention of eloping with her and accessing her fortune. He ran off with Lydia. He left a trail of debts and seduced women across multiple counties. And Austen makes sure we understand. The problem with Wickham is not that he had relationships. It's that those relationships were predatory, built on deception, targeting vulnerability, leaving damage. Austen presents Darcy's flaws as pride and social arrogance rather than sexual misconduct. He tells us this himself. His parents gave him good principles, but left him proud. His failures are failures of manner and condescension, not of ethics. And yet, the historical reality remains. Men of Darcy's wealth and class did have considerably more freedom than women. The system permitted it, encouraged it, and asked only for discretion. Austen knew this. She lived in this world. She wrote Wickham into the novel specifically to show us what that system produced when it was used without principle. But she never directly addressed what Darcy's life before Elizabeth looked like. Whether that means he had no romantic history at all, or whether his version of the double standard simply looked different from Wickham's. The novel doesn't say. And Bridgerton, by making premarital relationships visible and normalized in its version of this world, has made that silence louder. Bridgerton didn't invent the question. It just made it harder to ignore. The Regency world was not a chaste world. It was a world with strict rules for women and considerable freedom for men. Freedom that was used, abused, and never written into the stories women were supposed to read. Austen wrote around that reality. She gave us Wickham as the version of it that destroyed lives. She gave us Darcy as the version of it that, within the frame of her novel, chose differently. Whether we find that convincing depends entirely on what we bring to the text. And Bridgerton has changed what we bring. Tell me in the comments, does the historical reality of what wealthy Regency men actually did change how you read Darcy? And do you think Austen wanted us to ask this question, or did she deliberately close the door on it? I'm Sana. This is Monica's Pie. The story's never just the story.